リンクスタート。
If I was ever surprised that I liked a show like Sword Art Online, a show that I was all but convinced was entirely made for 11-year-old children who had watched way too much anime and, of course, played way too many online RPG games, I was even more surprised at how much I also truly enjoyed watching Sword Art Online Season 2, because as surprisingly, remarkably, unbelievably good the first half of the first season truly was, what with the whole Akihiku Kayaba, now you're trapped in the game forever, Jigsaw-inspired poetic justice death trap, and of course all of the cute, adorable puppy dog love stuff between Kirito and Asuna. The second half of the show was horrible, man. What a stinker. I mean, really. So many awkward moments. So many missed opportunities. I've said it once, I'll say it again. They got off the train too early, man. That second half of the first season was horrible. It was so bad. It was so bad, in fact, that I'm genuinely surprised that I ever even sat down to watch season 2 at all. But once I did, damn. 'Cause that shit gets you amped! I mean, really, once again, what a fantastic first half to the second season. What a fun ride. Especially when you consider how incredibly stupid a second season to SAO really sounds like on paper. I mean, like what? They get trapped in the game again? Free Willy gets trapped again by SeaWorld? Katniss gets stuck in yet another Hunger Games? That would have been the stupidest shit. No wonder that girly Matrix trilogy sucks so badly. But no, thank God, no. They did not resort to any of that crap with the second season. No, they really came up with something worthy of a second season for SAO. Something fresh and compelling that both fits with the fictional universe that they have already created, and yet something that is still very much its own thing, its own animal. And I think that's why it really works so well. SAO II is entirely a whole new game. It's a whole new world. And no, it does not nearly make the same impact as that first season did. Nothing will ever compare to Kayaba telling all of those stupid MMORPG kids, "Gotcha, bitch!" But if you ask me, season 2 is a lot more fun, and it's a much more compelling story overall. But most importantly of all, what it really helps to do is make up for the many past sins of how that second half of the first season truly turned out. It helps to make up for some of the missed opportunities. I mean, really. After Kirito finally defeats Kayaba and gets everybody finally free from the death game and back to reality, why the hell did they then immediately have to have a story be about Kirito having to go back into yet another stupid game? Well, to save Asuna, duh, but why? Why did they have to pick this direction of all directions? Why? Why? Of all the other ideas they could have possibly come up with after Kirito defeated Kayaba and beat the game, I mean, at this point in the story, I think we as the audience, what we really all cared about most was the characters themselves and their personal journeys together, and no longer just about whether or not they were still stuck in some online fantasy world fighting to the death with swords and gaining XP points or any of that crap. No, I mean, since clearly they decided to split the first season into 2 halves, which they didn't have to do, by the way. They could have easily kept the whole thing, the whole story, stuck inside the game and nobody would have ever complained, but they didn't. And since they didn't, don't you think it would have made a whole lot more sense if perhaps they had the first half obviously be about everybody getting stuck in the game unknowingly getting stuck inside this Final Fantasy version of the movie Saw, inside this Lord of the Rings version of Vietnam, and of course have this first half obviously be about having to come to terms with all this. And then they could have had the second half of the show be about everybody finally getting out of the game and going back to reality, only to then find, of course, that surprise, after living their lives in the world of SAO for so long, now they're going to have to come to terms with being part of reality again. I mean, as happy as I'm sure they all would be to finally be free of SAO and Kayaba's death trap once and for all, I highly doubt any of them would recover from any of this overnight. I mean, I for one have never been trapped inside a virtual reality death trap before, but I'm pretty sure it's not something you bounce back from in 1 week or less. No, shit like this most definitely leaves a mark. How can it not? But they don't ever really touch on any of this at all during the first season, do they? Because almost immediately after Kirito beats and frees everyone from the game, the focus becomes entirely about, oh no, now we gotta save Asuna. She's still trapped in another game. And of course, oh shit, my cousin wants to fuck me. I mean, seriously, what a bunch of missed opportunities here. If you ask me, they seriously shit the bed on this one. And when I saw it, it made me mad just to watch it. Such a good story, taking such a nosedive. And I'm sure it made a lot of other people watching it mad too. But you know, strangely enough here, stranger than fiction, you know, it's almost as if the actual story itself, the actual story of SAO was perhaps maddest most of all from all this. From its mistreatment, because from out of all this, at the very beginning of season 2 arose something very, very angry indeed. Very angry manifestation all clad in black. A new character for the show in a new game called Death Gun. And then soon after, suddenly to everyone's surprise, just like back in SAO, when Death Gun kills someone, in this new game, in the game of Gun Gale Online, they also seem to be dying off in the real world too. And how can such a thing be possible? What with Kayaba dead and long gone? This is the premise of the first half of season 2. And of course, surprise, surprise, it's all about sending Kirito in to investigate it. I mean, who else would they pick to send in? Of course the government's gonna pick Kirito because 1, he's an SAO survivor. 2, he's the one who put a stop to Kayaba's evil plans in the first place. And finally 3, most importantly of all, well, he's the main character of the show. Who else you gonna send in, Klein? Fuck you, Klein. You suck. And you know, when Kirito is used in this way in the second season, I think he works best as a character. People often criticize the Kirito character for being way too simple, way too one-dimensional, but even if you think this about him, which I personally do not, it is still so much fun. It is so entertaining to suddenly see him get fish out of water style taken away from everything he knows, which of course is the world of swords and sorcery and all that, and then suddenly see him instead get thrown right smack dab into the middle of the world of bombs, bullets, and ballistic missiles? It's awesome. It makes for great entertainment, especially since Kirito represents! Kirito stays true to his fantasy heritage. Cause that shit gets you amped! And Kirito shows all those Call of Duty Modern Warfare motherfuckers how we handle our shit in the fantasy world, yo, on the east side of Narnia. Plus, to really thicken the plot a little more, it soon turns out that he's got some kind of a history, a little bit of a backstory with the mysterious Death Gun character. And because of all this, we, the audience, are finally going to see something. We are finally going to see that Kirito is not exactly 100% hunky-dory after the events of SAO. No, he's got some serious shit, some serious past shit he's struggling to finally work out. A lot of the first half of the second season is all about learning how to deal with and survive past traumas. Just take the second main character of the second season and you'll see. Shino Asada, aka Shinon. If you ask me, Shinon is easily the best part of the entire second season. I like her better than Asuna. Kirito should have fucked her. Fuck her. Fuck her brains out. You see, on the show, Shinon is actually one of the best players in all of Gun Gale Online. She's a sniper, and she's one of the best at it, of course. Plus, she also eventually sees Kirito as a rival of sorts, which kind of makes sense. After all, one's expertise is entirely picking off her enemies from far, far away. The other's Kirito, well, he's a little bit more about getting up close and personal. Represent! And it's a lot of fun to see these two clash. Especially since, strangely, Kirito looks like a girl when he's inside the world of Gun Gale Online. I have no idea why. They really make an interesting pairing, an interesting dynamic. But here's the most interesting part about Shinon's personal story in all of the second season. Here's the twist. In real life, Shinon cannot stand the sight of a gun at all. And even if it's just a plastic one, or even if it's just someone's finger pointed to look like the shape of a gun, she will immediately freak out. She will start to have a nervous breakdown because Shinon herself, just like Kirito, and even in his own disturbing, unique way, even Death Gun, she is a character who is very much trying to deal with her own personal past traumas, her own serious case of PTSD brought on by something terrible that happened to her when she was very, very young. She is such an interesting and wonderful character. And the first half of season 2 is honestly more about her story than it ever was about Kirito's, which is fine, by the way, because she's a lot more interesting than him. Anyways, soon you find out quickly about her that Shino actually plays Gun Gale Online as the character Shinon as a means of exposure therapy to try and get her over all this. And then later on you find out that what happened was, when she was just a little girl going to the post office with her mommy, suddenly this crazy guy busted in and tried to rob the place. And I bet you as soon as you're hearing me say this, and this is also true when you're first watching it, as this occurs right in front of you, you immediately start to roll your eyes and go, oh geez, yep, mom's about to get shot, haven't heard this one again, and now she's traumatized, ooh, bleh. But no, what actually ends up going down, what actually ends up happening is, this guy, he goes in, tries to rob the place, he first shoots someone dead, at point blank, right in the face, he then points the gun right at Shino's mommy, Shino instinctively reacts, she runs right at him, and bites him in the hand, making him drop the gun, she gets the gun, the panic crazed robber comes at her, and little Shino, age 11, fills him up with a whole lot of bullets. I mean, damn. That is an awesome twist. I've never heard of anything like that before. It's kind of like the whole Bruce Wayne origin story, but in reverse, you know what I mean? Effing cool. And what the hell are with those stupid girls? Why the hell are you bullying another girl who has already murdered somebody? How is that a good idea? Jesus. And in the end, her SAO story is a very heartwarming one indeed. It's very touching. It's definitely one worth sitting and watching, which is why I'm not going to spoil anything major for anybody with this review. The first half of SAO Season 2 really was phenomenal. And if you haven't watched it yet, you definitely should. But unfortunately, I don't know what the hell is with this series, but just like with the first season, the second half is a piece of shit. It's such a piece of shit, so I won't even talk about it. I mean, why does it suck so badly, really? I think the best way I could put this, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but if you like John Green novels, maybe you'll like the second half of the season. If not, if you don't like John Green novels, I hope I'm not alone on that one. Then don't watch it. You know why?
Everyone has AIDS! AIDS, AIDS, AIDS! AIDS, 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 AIDS! Everyone has AIDS! And so this is the end of our story. And everyone is dead from AIDS.